Hi, everyone. Welcome back. And guess who's here? Hi, Resting Dollface.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh my gosh, so much better now that you're here. How are
Aw.
you?
I'm great, how are you?
I'm I'm markled out.
Me too, oh my gosh, I think most of us were markled out when they announced Megxit, you
I know,
know?
right? But this week has just been too much.
Yeah, she's definitely been, even leading up to it, oversaturating everything, and for what? This big fat nothing burger that was basically the Tig repackaged as the wife of a royal, am I right?
Honestly, and it's not just that With Love Megan came out, but, before With Love Megan came out, there was that People magazine article, and then we had the Variety article and the Guardian article, and it's just and people that don't ordinarily talk about Megan, who watch the show are now like, "Oh my gosh, she's terrible." So if it's just I don't know, I'm markled out.
Yes. And that's the thing, like, I'm gonna be honest, I was hoping there was a little piece of me that was hoping, like, she can do this, like, because anybody can no matter where you are in life, I firmly believe you can turn things around. But it's like she refuses. She really thought that, in my opinion, that this idea she had when she first launched the TIG was good enough on its own merit, that all she needed was a bigger platform, and then she'd be a success. And we're all sitting here going, "Why does this look like something from 2015 Pinterest?" And sure enough, it's the same stuff she already said back then.
Yeah, and at least on the TIG, she could, you weren't watching her for 40 minutes at a time.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
she could fake a personality,
Yeah.
but I honestly I finished the 5th episode of the current season, which is
Mhm.
something we can talk about right now too.
Yeah, the current season.
The current season, I legit throw up the white flag. I can't watch any more of this nonsense. And so, the first couple episodes, every single episode is someone just overly complimenting Megan. Just, oh my gosh, Megan, you're the greatest. And then when I got to the 5th episode and there's more than one person, at Megan's feet, I can't.
I know, and it's so funny that you say it because, like, look, I'll be honest, like, her whole tagline was, "This is about learning. This is about joy. This is about creating wonder in every moment." That's why I posted on social media. I said, "Oh my god, if you wanna talk about somebody literally being a moment of wonder or joy, her her makeup artist friend, Daniel Martin, he's the one sitting there going, I mean, I thought he stole the show, the entire series, because as much as everybody's like, "Well, who's this guy? He's boring." If you watched it, the way he was so cute, like, paying attention to the temperature for the beeswax, he's like, "Oh my god, it's 160, 161, hurry." I'm like, he just reminds me of one of those late night television, hosts who had, a similar personality as their sidekick, remember? It was just to where but he would only need, like, 30 seconds per episode to be interesting enough to carry this entire thing. Like, the entire thing, we watch her go from her fake plastered smile and trying to charm the crew off camera, not even talking to the camera, trying to charm the men crew, in my opinion, to just drop in her face and being a bulldog going, "Nope, you can do it. Go ahead, do it. Go ahead, add the salt." Like, how is this appealing?
I know, honestly, and I'm glad that you say that about Daniel because I really liked him,
Mhm.
and I haven't heard anyone else say that, so I'm glad that you feel that way too. I felt like he's a genuinely, like, positive, like, I don't know, I think he would be a great friend, but I also think, of course, money is a motivating factor here, okay? So
Mhm.
but I also think he's heavily influenced and manipulated by her.
Oh, definitely, and but I think we can see that in that episode, and guys, we're not telling you to go run out and pay Netflix for so you can watch it, okay? I'm sure we can find a way, like, maybe, Revealing and I could do a Patreon or something just to watch that episode, so you don't have to pay for it. But, like, I mean, he look at where he comes from, he's a makeup artist. They make friends with the stars that they work with, right? I mean, they sit there, they
Mhm.
listen to them pour their heart out. There were rumors back in the day about Jennifer Lopez having, a makeup artist revealing secrets or something. Like, this is what they do in the industry. They know everybody. And so for him to be, in certain ways, it was like he was fawning over her, but he was also kind of perplexed as to what the heck are we doing here? Like, this isn't the Meghan Markle I know. Like, I knew you liked food, but I didn't know you could cook. Where'd this come from? Did you catch that?
I I just felt like he was in, like, awe of her, and to me, it felt, like, partly rehearsed, but also I think he genuinely admires her. Out of everyone there, that everyone I've seen so far, I think he's the only one that really does admire her. But I
Yeah.
also think he's manipulated, and he's
Oh,
under her spell.
well, for sure. And I mean, we can speculate, but when we listen to him, he's like, I'm in New York. We don't have counter space. So to be invited to a show with such a setup, or to even be invited to her home with such a setup, is really breaking that fourth wall that he would normally have with an actor or actress in the business, right? So then all of a sudden it becomes, and I learned this from you. This wow, I'm chosen kind of moment, like I'm being seen, I'm being, like, rewarded just for
Mhm.
being a friend. Wow. And he even says it at one point, which I think gave something away. When she's like, "Isn't this funny?" He goes, "No, I want to go back to my cottage." And she corrected him and she's like, "Oh, you mean at my house?" I don't think they have a cottage on her house. Maybe he's being held up at over at San Ysidro Ranch, and he just kind of, with his little refreshing honesty, gave it away. But yeah, like, they don't normally do that, with the exception of, people like Gwyneth Goop and Martha Stewart. It's, hey, we're rewarding you, like you get a spa pedicure kind of day, or, you get to do this with me. Um, he was like, I didn't know I was being brought here to work.
It felt like that too, right? Like, part of the reason that I feel it was so exhausting is
Hmm.
because it didn't feel like people having a good time. It felt like people that are working. We're watching people that are putting in their hours,
Yeah.
and it's exhausting. Like, when Megan, I don't remember what it was they were making, and then they had to wait 2 or 3 hours. Oh, it was the candles. So they poured the candles, and they had to wait, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours, and I'm like, "Are you this poor guy, seriously? He has to wait 3, like, this hasn't been enough time? He has to stay?"
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, it felt like work to me. And what do you think about, like, breaking as of an hour or 2 ago that allegedly or apparently there's a 2nd season coming out in the fall?
Oh my gosh. I don't believe that for one second. Yeah.
You don't
Um,
believe
No, I don't believe that for one second. I mean, okay, not the way that they're trying to sell it. In my opinion, we know she likes to stockpile footage. I think she recorded, and because of all the costume changes in the, cut to, I did this earlier in the day. Okay, cool. So you had 4 costume changes earlier in the day to film more content. Got it. But that's what we know of her anyway. She likes to film and triple use things. So she's probably got years worth of footage. If they're saying that this was already filmed, it's not because she got the green light like back in September and they went back to filming. I feel like, she stockpiled this in hopes of getting a second one, or just to come out and say, "Hey, look, we've got it and it was already filmed." Like, she's very good at manipulating, and doing the fun spin doctor stuff.
And financially, it makes sense to do it that way, right? Because
Mhm.
you only rent that mansion or whatever one time, and, you know, I agree with you. I think that's what it is. I think they had already filmed it, and
Mhm.
if they had already filmed it, then I don't think Netflix was ever planning on, like, when we were hearing stories that, "Oh, the 2nd season is not gonna get renewed," or whatever, I don't
Mhm.
think that any of that was true because it was already filmed.
Yeah, it just goes back to the whole she probably kept it under wraps, right? To create wonder and illusion and magic, right? So that way it wasn't just, hey, guess what? She's filming seasons 1 and seasons 2. Let's see what'll happen. It was to imply something, don't you think?
Yeah, and I wonder if it's coming out in the fall. Do you think it will be like there's a it's a completely different time of year. Like, do you think she will be making pumpkin things, or is it just gonna be the same old non-seasonal?
What's she gonna do? Like carve a pumpkin while she heats up some tea she's pushing and maybe add some flowers to it later? I don't see like her coming home and making a pumpkin pie, do you?
Oh my gosh, what if she made the British Christmas pudding? But I think that has to sit for, like, a year. So I ordered a bunch of stuff from Highgrove,
Mhm.
at Christmas time, and one of the things I ordered was the Christmas pudding, and I was told on a live stream, and I also found out later, that the Christmas pudding, they make it, like, the year before, or it
Yeah.
keeps, basically.
Mhm.
So, I I wouldn't be surprised if she goes even more British, and I guess when I think, like, pumpkin stuff, like, I don't know, maybe she would make pumpkin ravioli or I don't know. I
Okay,
don't know.
I just can't see her doing that unless she brought in a chef and she was a sous chef for them, just like everything else. I mean, everything she did was so basic, and then it's like she did rampage chopping to show she's good enough to be a sous chef. See, look at me. I'm a good chopper. Obviously, I know what I'm doing. Like, do you remember that with Roy Choi?
I honestly thought she didn't look like I felt like she wasn't very good at chopping,
No, no,
honestly.
she came off as rampage, right? Like, if I do this loud and fast, it looks legit.
Oh my goodness. Wow, she is too much. Like, so if it does come out in the fall, it could be things like how to decorate. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, how to she okay, so there is that picture of her from, oh gosh, is it 2016 Thanksgiving or 2017 where she's in a picture with a turkey that's coming out of the oven or barbecue, I don't remember what. So
Mhm.
maybe she would like make a turkey. Did she so I haven't finished. Have you finished the show? Did you watch it all the way through?
I did.
Okay.
I
Did
need
she roast a
therapy.
chicken?
No, no, she didn't. So as much as she and Harry claimed to be in their honeymoon phase, apparently she wasn't looking for a chance to renew their vows, in my opinion, because there was no roasted chicken. She went out there and fed the chickens and, made this really eclectic frozen bowl of vegetables to feed the chickens. But no, there was no roasting of the chickens like that. And
Oh
no.
my goodness. Oh my goodness, so boring.
And now, honestly, it makes me think that back when she went ahead and claimed, "Oh, we were just roasting a chicken." No, Megan, I feel like she went to like Costco or something, but England's version, bought a rotisserie chicken, plated it, and went, "Look, Harry, I made this for you." Like, because that's what this entire show has been. Okay, hey, look, we don't have time to make real pretzels because I spent all that time making bath salts the wrong way. So let me just use somebody else's hard work and repackage it as my own.
Oh my goodness. So, you posted a video earlier this week,
Hmm.
and I believe there were a lot of revelations and connections you made in that video. And I feel like I've connected some of the dots, but I don't know that I understand it completely. So, can we talk about that? And also, I encourage everyone watching to go and watch the video by Resting Dollface. I will drop the link to the video in the description and also a link to Resting Dollface's YouTube and X. But yeah, what's going on with that? What are those connections?
Wow, thank you so much. Well, it was something like after watching the entire series, and I will say my mind went numb. I just had to go take a walk. That was just really painful for me. It was so boring. I'd rather go sit at the DMV all day and wait for my name to be called. Um, that has more wonder for me, okay? But no, I was just sitting there, and then all of a sudden I was like, wow, okay, so oh my God. She brought up the apple. Everything in that series, like, felt like a clapback, or like she had something strategic to prove. And even in that first video with Daniel Martin, it was a reintroduction of Megan. Oh, we met on Suits. So it's like, hey, reminder, I was on Suits, guys. In case you don't know who I am, I was on Suits. And see, I do have long friendships. And look, I talked about apple butter because that's what I'm known for, from that one really, really vague vlog from back in the day. And I was like, why does it seem so familiar? Because I feel like she's really kept under the radar for so long. Like, either she's that thoroughly uninteresting that nobody noticed that she could go ahead and put out the same thing. So from that moment, I started noticing she's just relaunching the same stuff. It's not a rebrand. Okay? It's the same Meghan Markle we've always seen. It's just now she's using her Sussex title as part of her name, which I get she totally has a reason to, but it's the exact same stuff. She's sitting there. I mean, she had some rinky-dink pasta dishes on the TIG, everyone. And if you don't know, look, we'll do a video later showing all the stuff that she shared on Instagram. This woman has not evolved at all. And you would think that she has. It doesn't matter how many pictures she has shown of herself at restaurants talking to the chefs, which I think she's using to try to give her some clout. Okay? Like she's an expert or something.
So, doll, really quick, just to summarize what you just said.
Mhm.
So, what you're seeing when you're watching With Love Megan and her
Mhm.
current Instagram posts and everything, that it's basically a repeat of things that happened on the TIG, and she's basically coming back full circle, and she's posting the same, not even just the same type of content, but literally even the same content. And honestly, it's very difficult to find posts or anything from the TIG. Do you think she purposely, like, had that wiped so people like you couldn't make that connection?
I'll be honest, I think so, because it looks, honestly, if you go Google, and I've been using the tools where you could go ahead and choose from what year to what year. Um, Google doesn't pull up the stuff that used to be out there anymore about it. Even the archives are really hard to find because everything, it could say from 2010, it's still saying Meghan Markle's new lifestyle show. All right. It's weird what's going on right now. And then there's so much, if you do have Pinterest, there's so much being flooded for her new stuff on there that if you try to do a search, like a Google, because Pinterest is a search engine, you can't find the stuff. It's her PR team that is like trying to do away with it. So this looks like fresh new content because let's face it, at this point she gets to say, "Oh, I was part of the royal family," implying that she was at these great royal special dinners using those fake royal tours she was recently at to make it seem like she has something to offer. And then she shows up with telling a story about apple butter, not actually showing a video of it. And it's the same stuff. Like, I don't know what else to make of that, especially with the same pictures and hairstyles.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you also went further than this. Like, what were the other things you were saying other than this similarity between the TIG and her current, in quotation marks, rebranding?
Well, it's really funny because we all know it was like Megxit 2020, January 2020 when they announced that they were leaving the royal family. And, she made this huge announcement that she was pushing back the premiere of her show because of the LA fire victims. And it doesn't make sense if you watch the show, like she was doing something super altruistic because this show, again, was just about reminding everybody, hey, I'm from Los Angeles. That makes me cool. Like I was born into the in crowd. So you're going, well, why did she push it back to March 4th if that was literally all it was about? Was her because every episode's not about LA or LA hotspots or, her love for California, especially LA. This is more about her and her Montecito life. Well, I looked at the date and I went, "Why? There's something familiar. There's something familiar about March 4th." And sure enough, I looked it up. March 5th, 2020 is that iconic photo of her and Harry looking at each other in the rain. It was her first post leaving the royal family, but official return to royal duties picture. And they plastered that everywhere all over the media for the book Finding Freedom. So to me, that was another thing that just started to line up. She purposely chose that March 4th date because it lined up with her first, post royal event from 2020. This is all part of the whole, hey, smash and grab, in my opinion. Go ahead, join the royal family, get that worldwide wedding, get some humanitarian stuff, and leave and go back to California as an influencer.
And do you think she thought of this, like, was she always planning, do you think, from the January 15th date to pushing it to March 4th? Or did she realize that after Netflix announced it's coming out January 15th?
With her, that's a good question. I don't know if she always planned that because with her, she does tend to get nervous about things and either show up late or postpone stuff. I mean, look at Lemonada. Oh, I've got a new Lemonada deal, but I can't put anything out because I have to go get content of me going to fake royal tours. For somebody who likes to talk so much, she pushes things off. So because they didn't have the product stuff ready and she wasn't like actively sharing stuff, she may have pushed it back. That makes sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. So, you know what? I'll ask this as a fun question later. I'm gonna say it now, but let's talk about it later. If the LA fires hadn't happened, what are some funny excuses that she could have used to push it to March 4th? But we can do that at the end. You know how I ask some funny
Oh
questions? We can
gosh.
save so that we can think about we can marinate on this
Oh my
question
god, that
until
that's so much fun. Wait, I gotta write down ideas now because that's a good one. Um, she was double booked. Okay, I won't say any more. I won't say any more yet.
So, okay, so the March 4th, it basically coincides with their last royal duties, official
Mhm.
royal duties.
Yeah, that one iconic photo, because it not the green one where, there was allegedly, some stuff happening behind the scenes where they were fighting with the rest of the royals about if they get to be part of the procession or not, and not the Royal Albert Hall that they were late for, and they thought they got a standing ovation. That's not why there was a standing ovation, and there's so many glares at them, it's not even funny. No, this was from,
The blue dress
yes, the blue dress where it
and the
was.
umbrella and the rain,
Yeah, and
right?
it's like them against the world, and they're gonna do this, and they're gonna carve out a new path, and blah, 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 blah. It was her first return to the UK as a royal, finishing up their royal duties, got used in Finding Freedom press everywhere, all right?
You know what? I just thought of something.
Mhm,
So, you're right. That picture is a statement. I didn't notice that it's really looks like it's us against the world, and that is something narcissists do. It's an isolation tactic, and it draws the victim in closer. And I'm not saying Harry's a victim, but in narcissistic relationships, it draws the other person in. And in order for this belief of it's us against the world, the narcissist has to make that other person think that everyone else is out to get us. So
mhm.
it ends up resulting in isolation.
I could definitely
Yeah.
see that because, man, even in this show, that last like, Harry has, like, all of 2 seconds in the show. All right, where it reminds me of one of those black and white pictures that got released in their other, Harry and Meghan special on Netflix, where she's sitting there, her toast at the end of this, spoiler alert, is this fake shoulders forward, lifting glass up, her eyebrows stretched out. It's this weird face she does. It's like this fake humility of, oh my God, thank you so much. And Harry has the same expression he had back in 2020. I'm not buying this BS. Like,
Yeah.
it is horrible.
Do you think that she she was waiting this long hoping that people would forget and not make these connections?
Yeah. I think she was banking on it, to be honest, and so funny because you brought up my video. My first thought was when I connected all the dots was, "Well, let me let me poke holes in this theory, right? From that video. I said, because I don't run with it. I actually, once I have an idea, I go find evidence to counter it, not opinion, evidence. And sure enough, I started finding, I was like, is this a thing in the Hollywood industry about PR? And this whole time we were wondering, well, why isn't she listening to anybody? Why isn't she listening to WME? There's a lot of information out there about how to handle PR in the public eye that if you have backlash, the best things to go do. And I did include that in the video. And she's been doing all of it. She wrote an op-ed. She's got PR people helping her get, like flimsy coverage for things that had nothing to do with this lifestyle thing because she got exposed right as Megxit was announced and, right as she's doing all those interviews with Oprah and everything, she got exposed by her previous management, Gina Nelthorpe Cowan, as hey, at her and Lizzie Cundy, all the people she allegedly used friendships with in professional relationships. Her plan was what she was doing in 2014, 2015. She knew her time in Hollywood was limited. Her plan was to get associated with, big brand names and whatnot. And part of that was to go ahead and get connected with a famous, wealthy British person, and then to return to Hollywood as an A-lister. So that's exactly what she did. So what better way to throw off the heat and then to go out and not be out there cooking and lifestyle stuff, but to come off as a fake humanitarian doing tours to poor countries while wearing $10,000 worth of outfits.
Wow. Wow.
I'm sorry, I feel like I just flashed my IQ. I'm sorry. But yeah, that was part of the PR stuff, which was lay low. Well, we knew she wasn't going to do that, but what did she do? Well, she went heavy on the PR of look at her with the pap shot, and look at her, planting flowers, and look at her, doing these humanitarian trips and doing this for Invictus and doing this for that, and writing the article like the losses we share. That was all to draw attention away from what was the ultimate goal, which is, hey, I have no talent, in my opinion. But I want to be taken as an authority and have a lifestyle brand because all those other people did it before I could. Nobody would invest in me, meaning her. And she did not grow during this entire time.
Yeah, I don't think she grew either, and like you were saying, a lot of the things that she did on With Love, Megan are not, like, fashionable or, people have moved on, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, like, come on, the you could chop up rainbow like fruit into rainbow. Oh, oh, could I? Is it edible? Oh, I never knew. I mean, this was stuff that I remember as a child watching on Woman's Day magazine, thinking, at the checkout line, oh, that's so cute, that's so creative. And here she is, the humanitarian and champion of the world. Oh, and the parts where she's like, oh, you have to use distilled water or this kind of water. Otherwise, well, that really kind of makes you look like a jerk even more, Megan, when you went to Rwanda for clean water, doesn't it? Please tell us more from your palace in Montecito. I just, oh, this
You know
is,
what?
hmm,
I'm sorry to cut you off.
oh
I
no.
wonder, like, I almost feel, and you tell me how what you think about it, but that this was actually a backup plan. Like, I
Ooh,
think she was expecting that the red carpet would be rolled out
yeah.
when they come back, and I did a live stream about the things they were offered, when they first left the royal family,
Hmm.
and I think they just expected the cash to flow.
I
But
agree. I think that's exactly what they expected. I think because and it's so funny because I found on YouTube, like, back in 2008, which is one of those time periods Megan seems to be trapped in. It was 2008, 2009, something like that, where, Victoria Beckham, even though she was successful in her own right, and where have we heard that before when it comes to Megan, right? She was doing this reality show about coming to Los Angeles because her and her husband, David Beckham, and their kids were moving. And we also saw in the time a lot of tabloids, People Magazine, everybody covering how, hey, with the Beckhams coming to LA, You had the likes of Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes and, throwing them red carpet events and giving them top premiere stuff. You had Will Smith and his wife, Jada Pinkett, doing the same thing. And I think Megan had that in her head, thinking, well, wow, if that happened to the Beckhams, and here I am, a princess of the realm. Don't come at me, people. I know that's not what she is. I'm going from her point of view. And I'm married to Diana's son, the favorite grandson of the sitting monarch, the Queen of England. Certainly everybody will give us that, if not more. That's what I think she had in her mind.
Yeah, that's what I think too. And people like that, they reveal themselves so quickly. They can't help it. They can't
Yeah.
help themselves. So as a result, I think all of those opportunities dried up. And to me, it doesn't seem her or Harry have she and Harry? Well, you know what I mean. I'm trying to figure out the grammar, but like neither of them have a good work ethic.
Yeah. No,
Like, they don't want to put in work, they just want the success to come, like, they want to be able so when they first left, they signed a deal with Harry Walker Agency, I think is the name,
mhm.
where they didn't, like, get a contract, but they signed on with them so that they could be hired for public speaking events, and I think their thought was, "Okay, we'll get, uh, oh gosh, what's it called? The jet, what is it called? Why am I blanking? A private whatever, the private plane
Yeah.
to the private jet, thank you, private jet. They would take a private jet to this location, speak for a half an hour, and get back and go home and make half $1,000,000.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like, and I've said this before, and I'd love to know your thoughts. To me, the fact that the Netflix deal was announced in the fall of 2020 and the Spotify deal was announced in 2021. And we never heard of any other big endorsements, no other big deals since that time. That tells me that Hollywood knew something was up with them. That's why there were no more deals. They wanted to see what they were going to deliver. And I really don't think Netflix was too happy knowing that they'd been talking to her for all that time. They signed some sort of contract, and all of a sudden, Oprah gets the first interview. Like, I'd love for them to do Netflix. Ted, if you're watching, call me because I really would love to pitch an idea that is completely not based off of anything in real life, but where maybe they should do a fake, The Office style show showing their most difficult clients, theoretically, not based on anybody in real life, and how demanding and how inept they were, and how, they're not even qualified to pour water. Because, I mean, you had people like Seth, what's his name from, oh, what's it? Not Seth Rogen, Seth, from Family Guy, poking fun at Harry and Meghan just laying around and being
Seth
like, "Oh,
MacFarlane?
yes, thank you."
Hey.
That, "Hey, we babe, we have to, here's our Netflix checks, and we have to do our Duchess del Taco post." Like, somebody had to been going and wheeling and dealing some lunches and making fun of them for that to be getting out there, don't you think?
You know what? You're right, and I hadn't thought of it that way, that all no one else really signed with them. I went through and looked at some of the projects they had proposed to Netflix, and They there were 2. One was Pearl, which was
Mhm.
supposed to be, I think, an animated child story, I don't know, and the
Mhm.
other was, oh gosh, I don't remember what the name was, but it was a book. Oh, Meet Me at the Lake.
Mhm.
So, they I think Netflix bought the rights to it, but Meghan and Harry were supposed to produce it. I'm not sure exactly the ownership of, the film rights for this book.
Mhm.
The like, the summary of the book sounds very interesting. I actually bought the audiobook to listen to
Ooh.
because the story sounds good, and I think that just goes to show, it's not that anything Megan touches we don't like. We give it all a shot. We try to like it, and that book sounds good. So, we'll see what I think after I listen to the audiobook. But the point being, Netflix shut that project down. So, why
Which
in the
one,
world?
Pearl or the other one too?
Both.
Wait, they
Both of
shut down
them.
Meet Me by the Lake?
I think so. Let me Google it really quick, but I'm pretty sure.
This is real life, people. See, we don't know everything, but we do fact check ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to know and be on top of these things.
Information comes out so quickly. That's the thing. Like, we're kind of in information overload, but with having the internet and everything, like it does come out a lot faster now.
Oh, there is a okay, so there's a 9-minute movie from 2014 called Meet Me at the Lake, so it's not that one.
No.
Okay, as of 2023, that was when they announced that they were gonna adapt it for
hmm
Netflix.
Oh, come on, people. When you have a bestseller like that, you can't wait that long. And that's part of the problem with Megan. Even if she was doing like bad PR management, to wait this long just to show the same thing that nobody cared about in 2015, that's bad. That's 10 years of nothing. This,
Well,
oh my
I don't know that that Meet Me at the Lake is related to the book. Like,
Oh,
it
no, no,
seemed
I
like
meant the one from just 2023 being announced.
yeah. So it says okay, no the Netflix adaptation produced by Archwell has not been canceled and is still in development. But I
Why?
read
You think
somewhere that
oh, go ahead.
yeah, I read somewhere that it was canceled.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about that. I'm gonna have to look into that too. I just feel like, I mean, what's she gonna do? Make it where you have to cast either her, somebody who looks like her, and then somebody who looks like Harry, make him a prince? Like,
Oh my
I feel
goodness.
like what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? But I still personally feel through one of maybe their LLCs, they had something to do with those 2 Lifetime movies, Escaping the Palace and all. Those were awful for me, by the way. I couldn't. I took one for the team with this series. I'm not sitting through those, but they were awfully familiar, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, completely, one side of the story. Yeah,
And one narrative that we keep hearing everywhere, there's no way they're just not involved, right?
yeah. You mean involved in, like, all these publications that are coming out?
Well, like those other movies from Lifetime, because look, I found this one movie that is really too spot on for what could have been, the Harry and Meghan love story. And they even kept some of the same names in there and the same features. All right. And she hasn't sued about that. And as litigious as she is in her name and everything else being used, the fact that those two movies, which were done in less than like a 3-year period about escaping the palace, all on Lifetime, that's weird that she didn't like shut that down or something, don't you think?
Yeah, yeah. If she didn't like it, it would be gone. I mean, unless, there's no reason for it to be gone. Like Tom Bauer's book, she can't shut that down.
I know, he's my
She
hero right
wishes she
now.
could. I know,
I
I
love him.
know.
There's this one, and no, it's not the most flattering picture of him, but I love it because he's just given this look like, "I don't buy your crap," and it just says, "Oh." Yeah, I love that picture of him. So whenever somebody says something so outrageous or Megan's making another really ridiculous claim, I just always picture that face of his in my head. It's amazing. I'm like, "Really? Let's fact check that, Megan. Let's see what
Yeah.
the other people have to say." But, like, even, I just at this point, what I'd love is for somebody to go interview some of the Sussex Survivors people and see if they got the same
Yes.
treatment. I mean, Daniel Martin, he became a friend, but, he got all those gifts and bedside things. Did she ever send that to her staff, or was that only in the beginning? Like, the guy who did he go on the South yeah, he went off the South no, wait, the Nigeria tour, and then he quit the other one, didn't he? Like, he quit before one of them.
I don't remember.
It was right it was one of them, but they had this guy, and then they made a huge they instead of just
Oh,
letting him go quietly.
the
Yeah.
chief of staff, Josh Kettler, and um, he quit, like, right before Nigeria.
And that is proof that they had somebody advising them on PR because let's be honest, why would anybody know about their staffs coming and going unless they're the ones announcing it? Okay. Unless, and according to the PR, how to manage a crisis is you need to be on top of it. You need to be ahead of it because whatever statement you put out first is what's going to be believed more than likely. So why did they announce, oh, yep, we're parting ways and it was amicable and blah, 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 blah. And it was only a 90-day trial anyway? Why do that?
Who hires a chief of staff as, like, on a contract, like, basis? That's not.
I hired an assistant that I did as an independent contractor on a 90-day basis, like attempt to hire type thing. Because if it was going to work out and all this other stuff, and whether or not you were going to do unemployment, but I also didn't announce it. So, like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure that the royal household loses staff all the time, be it like retirement, sick, better opportunities. We never hear about that, do we? Yet Harry and Meghan always felt the need, especially with bullying claims on both sides of the pond. That's very interesting to me that they've always announced or they tend to announce when this person is leaving and when they're getting a new person. I mean, look at that girl, Ashley Hansen. There was allegedly a leak. She, was seen pushing Megan off the carpet or something, and then it was announced, "Oh no, we're happy for her. We always wanted her to launch her own company." Yeah, I don't buy that for a second. Do you?
No, no, not at all. I think they provided the funds for her to make that new company because she did something positive for them. Like, I think she said something really positive about them, and then it was announced that she started her own company. But this was just my thought when I heard about that.
Yeah. No, I could see that, or I could see it totally being like, what's her name? Gwen from I'm sorry, Megan reminds me of Gwen from America's Sweethearts. Do you remember that movie with Catherine Zeta-Jones and her idol, Julia Roberts? Do you remember that?
I I saw it so long ago, I don't remember.
You gotta go watch it. We're gonna go watch it. We'll do another video another day because I swear that Gwen is how Meghan Markle is, where everything's about her and everything is about her image. Like there's this one part towards the end where she's ready to sue because she's like, this is damaging. How dare you? And her ex-husband stands up and goes, I don't want to be with you because I'm in love with who you are on the screen, but that's not who you are in real life. And then so not only does that apply, but there's that part where she's seen confronting her sister, Julia Roberts. And it's, her being herself, a real mean girl to her. Right? And she's like, "Well, I guess
Mhm.
you're fired." And then she looks and she sees the audience. She goes, "Oh, honey, I only care about your happiness. You know that, right?" I feel like that was Ashley Hansen's send off when it was, "Oh, no,
Wow.
she's starting a new company and we're gonna be her clients." Yeah, that's what I feel like that was because there was so
Yeah,
much backlash about what happened on that red carpet for Variety. They're like, "Oh, nope, she's gone. She's gone, but we have to make it look nice."
yeah. Wow. Well, I wanna thank you so much for, coming on Resting Doll Face. I wanna thank you all for listening. I'm gonna drop Doll's information in the, comment or the description. I wanna thank you all for listening, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.